So as you know, if you watch many of my videos, I'm not a doom and glooms guy. I'm actually pro real estate in the United States. It might not be the best time for you out there, but there is still value out there. So we don't need to watch those channels that say, oh my good, the housing market's going to crash 50 or 100% worse than this and worse than that. We get it, folks. But what our goal here is my goal is to find a solution for you other than sitting there just saying, you can't buy, you can't buy, you can't buy. Let's look into the details to see, are there areas of the country that might be strong enough or have the economics behind it to actually get through a housing crisis. So CNBC did a fantastic job. So we're going to go in this video, we're going to go over two sections. We're going to go 10 of the states with the most desirable places to live and have value. And the other one is basically the 10 worst states out there, but the silver lining there is they're getting a lot of money from the federal government in regards to the infrastructure bill. So those might be up-and-comer states. So let's get to it. The CNBC did all our work on this one, so this is fantastic. We're going to go through here real briefly, and like usual, I'll leave the link down below so you guys can dive into this topic and dig in yourself. But America is facing a housing affordability crisis with low inventory. I just put out a video today in regards to that, how we're basically at a historic low when it comes to inventory. Some states are wealthier than in real estate and can survive a storm. But what they did is they went through here and says they know that the market's in turmoil. But what they did is they did a survey and they hear basically what I want to get to is right in this section here. Under our 2023 methodology, housing is a metric in the economy category. One of the most important in our 10 categories of competitiveness. To determine which states has the healthiest housing market, we consider multiple factors, including price appreciation, housing starts, foreclosure rates, and affordability. This year, they're putting in a new metric from NARS, the affordability distribution score, which looks at the affordability of home sales over income levels as the end of the list of the end of the last year. Okay, so a score of 1 or higher suggests a housing market that is affordable. With a score falling below 1, it is an indicator of less affordability. So we go through this list, and first comes up with Alabama. And you might say, Alabama, what in the world's down in Alabama? Well, let's look at the metrics here. The appreciation rate that they saw in the past year, 10.25%. So a lot of those out there are saying, we should have sat on sitting on the sidelines. They've been prompting you to sit on the sidelines since 2021. You missed out on just last year a 10% appreciation if you lived or bought a house in Alabama. So the reasons behind all this is the affordability. It's a 0.74, which is fantastic. The start rate is they have 3.8 people per 1,000. With the start rate of new construction. Foreclosures, 1 in every almost 6,000 homes. And are there anybody that's underwater on their mortgage? 3.8%. That's kind of hard to figure out. If you had an appreciation rate of 10%, think about it. In most cases, people are putting down 3%. Okay, you put down 3%. The house appreciates 10%. How are you underwater? Okay, unless you bought a couple years ago, or you just bought maybe a couple months ago. Not sure how that metric works, but I don't know how people can be underwater at that point. So the next one we go to is Wisconsin, and they're just the state north of us. The economic ranking is number 20. Appreciation, another 10% appreciation rate that we saw there. Affordability index, 0.76. Starts per 1,000 population, 3.6. Foreclosures, 1 in every almost 9,000. So when you guys see, foreclosures are running rampant, you're gonna see in most states, there's not a lot of foreclosure out there. It's just a lot of clickbait. Underwater mortgages, again, 4.2%. And again, I'm gonna ask that question. If you had appreciation at 10.03% last year, how are you underwater? But I'm sure there's reasons for that. The next one coming up, it is tied for number 6, and that is Ohio. It is ranked number 21. The appreciation rate there was 8.7%. Affordability index is 1, which is fantastic. Starts per 1,000 is 2.6. Foreclosures, 1 in every about 2,500. Underwater mortgages, 5%. Okay. So the next one we go through is New Jersey, the Garden State, most improved state for business. Ranked number 19, appreciation 8.3. Do you see a lot of the appreciations here? 10, 10, 9, 8. There's still appreciation out there, folks. Affordability index 0.68. Starts per 1,000, 4. Foreclosures, 1 in every 2,200, and underwater mortgages, 2.8%. Okay, so that's coming in at tied for number 6. The next one we have that's tied at that number 6% is Indiana. We're starting to see a lot of houses in the Midwest, folks. Is there a reason for that? I don't know. Let's see. Indiana. Economic ranking, number 9, appreciation 9.5, just shy of 10%. Affordability index 0.9, starts per 1,000 is 4.2, foreclosures 1 in every 3,100, underwater mortgages 3%, 3.3%. Let's continue down. Georgia, that is not in the Midwest, that is way down in the South. Well, they're ranked number 4 in the overall economic ranking. Appreciation 11.4. Do you guys see what I'm seeing on here? These are the best places to live, and they're also coming off nice appreciation. Affordability index 0.65, starts per 1,000 7.2, foreclosures 1 in 3,500, underwater mortgages 3%. We're moving up the food chain here. North Carolina coming in at number 4, overall number 1 state for businesses. Economic ranking on North Carolina is number 3, appreciation 13.4%. Guys, we normally have an appreciation rate of 4% or 4.4% nationally over the last 50 years. Look at these. We're seeing double-digit numbers. Affordability index 0.6. So again, the lower it gets down there, the more affordable it is. Starts per 1,000, 8.7. Foreclosures, 1 in every 3,600. Underwater mortgages, 2.5%, less than 3%. As we move up, we're getting to the top 3. Maine. What is Maine known for, despite the lackluster economy? Home buyers are having been discovered the Pine Tree State and sending prices upward. They are ranked number 38 on the economic ranking, but their appreciation rate is 12.2%, affordability 0.67, housing starts per 1,000 population 5.2, foreclosures 1 in every 5,000, underwater mortgages 2.5%. Now ranking in the top 2, we have South Carolina. South Carolina, lovely place. I go there every year to go golfing. It is economic ranking number 7, appreciation 13%. Man, guys, you're missing out. Just letting you know you're missing out. Affordability index 0.68, starts per 1,000 8.8, foreclosure rate 1 in every 2,600, underwater mortgages 3%. So again, 3 or less on that. And then we get to the number 1 state. Now, a lot of you guys might disagree with this, but Florida is still doing very, very, very well. However, I've been talking to some people lately, and they're saying because of the insurance costs right now, a lot of people are fleeing Florida and going to Texas, believe it or not. But they are coming in as the number 1 state here. Top ranking, number 1 when it even comes to economic rankings. Appreciation 15.2%. Affordability index 0.5. It's going up a little bit because of insurances. Starts per 1,000, 9.7. They're building houses like crazy down there. Foreclosures, 1 in every 2,400. Underwater mortgages, 1.2%. Okay, so those round off the top 10 places right now that it's giving people good values when it comes to buying a house. Now, these are I'm going to say these are up and comers. These are 10 states that have the worst infrastructure in the whole economy, in the whole country. But what's going to help them out? Well, remember what I said the other day? I said, we have these trillions and trillions of dollars in stimulus money still being pumped out there. One big piece of that is the infrastructure bill. So we go through here. We have an infrastructure bill, $1.2 trillion that's starting to get dispersed. That's going to help out these states tremendously. So think about it. If these states are getting tons of money pumped into them, what's going to happen? Well, they probably don't have enough people to do all of this infrastructure work. So they're going to need people. People are going to come there. Okay. What's going to do? That's going to drive up the prices. Okay. So get in early. What you're also going to see is because there's a lot of workers and people moving there, what are you going to need? Services, healthcare, recreational, leisure, all kind of things. Also, you're going to need white and blue collar workers in these areas because the money that's getting distributed, think of $1.2 trillion. Folks, that's a lot of money. So let's get over to these, just giving you some ideas on where you might want to look if you're out there looking to see, hey, where in the country can I buy something that might be really, really, really affordable, knowing that this stuff is in the background? So what we do is we go over through here, and ranking number one, or the worst in this category, West Virginia. My old stomping grounds. That's where I was born and raised. It is coming in and is dismal. The reason being is right through here. The infrastructure score, 158 out of 390. It gets a D ranking. U.S. population within 500 miles. I don't know why they have that. It's 137 million people. It's very close to D.C., many parts of West Virginia. Bridges in poor conditions. I can vouch for that because I go back there a couple times a year to visit my family, and it is brutal. It's scary even to go across half the bridges back there because they're really old. They're steel bridges. They're rusted out. They've been there since my dad was a kid, and he passed away 2 years ago, and he was 91 at the time. So roads in unacceptable conditions, 15. That's a lot. Broadband access, they do have Wi-Fi and everything else, so that's very good. Power outages, not that much. I talk to my mom every night, and she very rarely runs out of power. New Hampshire's coming in at the number 9. It is 157 out of 390. Population, is 640 within 500 miles. Why they put in the within 500 miles is people can then kind of put this on their radar. I know you're not going to drive 500 miles to go to work, but at least if you're a remote worker, you can say, well, I don't have to, move far, or basically all the way across the country. You can live within 500 miles. But bridges in poor condition, 8%. Roads in unacceptable condition, 9%. Broadband, 95%. They're good there. And power outages, 39%. But again, guys, what we're going through is these areas that are going to get tons and tons and tons of money to build their infrastructure. And again, you're going to need people there to do this. So number 9 was that. Number 8 comes in Hawaii, and I didn't realize how bad Hawaii's infrastructure is until I basically dug into these articles. 2023 infrastructure score, 159 out of 390, graded an F. Bridges in poor condition, 6%. Roads in unacceptable condition, 38%. 38%. Almost half of their roads are unacceptable. I never knew that. Broadband is good and power outages really are non-existent. Rhode Island's coming in at number 7. It passed Rhode Island Works, a $5 billion program whose goals include bringing 90% of the state's bridges in structure sufficiency by basically infrastructure. They're going to spend $5 billion. Think about it. In Rhode Island. Going to bring in a lot of money. They're ranked right now 151 out of 390. Bridges in poor condition, 16%. Roads in unacceptable conditions, it's almost 50%. 50%. What's their state government, state and local government doing up there, Rhode Island? You need to get your act together, but you're going to get tons of funding from the federal government to help you out in those areas. Coming in at number 6, New Mexico, lack of access to high-speed broadband services. The state is trying to catch up on a $120 million pilot program, Connect Mexico. So I'll start showing you how much money these guys are getting. Only $120 million, but that's just for, internet. So we go down through here. It is ranked 145 of 390 with an F infrastructure rating. Bridges in poor condition, 5%. Roads in poor condition, unacceptable condition, 9%. Broadband's good, power outages, nothing. But again, they're going to get money in regards to this and the national disbursement of monies. Arkansas, extreme weather, including hurricanes, tornadoes, winter storms, is testing Arkansas's power grid. According to the U.S. Department of Energy, Arkansas dealt an average of 9 hours without power in 2021. The national state stands to receive more than $270 million in fundings. What for? Well, let's go down through here. They're ranked 141 out of 390. Poor bridges, 5%. Roads in unacceptable condition, 14%. Broadband, that's where they need it. They're only at 78%, but they don't really have much issues with power outages in that area. Tied for number 4 is Louisiana. It's known for its floods back in the days, and it's still currently in a desperate situation. Under the infrastructure law, Louisiana is set to receive more than $380 million for energy improvements over the next 2 years, and more than $15 million for flood mitigation. So they're going to get, what is it? Almost $400 million to help their infrastructure bills. They're ranked right now as an F, 141 out of 390. Bridges in bad condition, 12%. Roads in unacceptable condition, 25%. Give you a little story. I went down there several years ago. My wife and I took a cruise. So we were like, hey, let's drive down from Chicago to Louisiana and take a cruise. When we hit the state border, and I kid you not, we hit a bump. We hit a hole in the road that my wife was sleeping next to me. It almost knocked her out of the chair. That's how big of a hole that we hit. So it was brutal. Broadband is okay, and power outages 80.2. That's not real good. So they need a lot of help down in that area. Next comes up is Mississippi. These are states that I hate to say it, but our country's kind of forgetting about. They're going to get $30 million in grants to fund 10 projects, and they're also getting another $100 million to do what help their F-rated infrastructure bill. They have bridges that are in poor condition, 7%, roads that aren't acceptable at 12%. Where they need help is their broadband and power. Okay, so it's going to pump in over $130 million, at least $130 million in those areas. Then we have Alaska. I wouldn't move to Alaska. Too darn cold for me. There are fewer than 78% of Alaskans have broadband access. Okay, so they're going to use the bipartisan infrastructure law, aim to tame it a bit, with $3.9 billion in total fundings allocated for 2023. So there's 3.9 just. It's not for Alaska, but it's being used to help infrastructure or the internet throughout the whole country. Alaska is coming in at 129 out of 390. It has an F rating as well. Bridges in poor condition, 7%, not bad. Unacceptable roads, 23, terrible. Broadband, 77, terrible. Okay, so they need some help up there. Then we go to number 1, Maine. Let's see, the state's busiest airport. How much are they going to get? Of the $1.2 billion in bipartisan infrastructure law, infrastructure law funded, headed to Maine, $1.2 billion. Imagine that, $1.2 billion to a state. They're ranked 126 out of 390. They're an F rated. Bridges in poor condition, 14%. Roads in poor condition, 12%. And their broadband and their outage is pretty good. So if you look at this, let's just put it in context. We just went over 10 states that have, what CNBC is saying, affordability. It's a place where if you're looking to move and you don't care because you work remote, you might want to look to those areas. But this might be some up-and-comer states because, on average, you just saw some of these states getting billions of dollars in stimulus money to help their infrastructure. To do that, they're going to need people. When people come, basically you build. So you build it and the people will come. So that's my report for today. I hate seeing all those videos that say, housing's going to crash. You can't afford a house. What my goal here is to help you find, or at least do the research to help you find a place for you and your family that you can settle down and live comfortably. So my name is Dan Frio. I do reports like this every day to inform and educate you guys, everything real estate. If you'd like to find out more about me and how I might be able to help you, all you need to do is go to therateupdate.com. I'm a mortgage advisor. I'm licensed in every state in the country, as well as Puerto Rico. So if you're out there and you're like, hey, Dan, I'd love to see if I can buy in Maine. How much do I need to put down? How much money do I need to make to be to afford that? What's my credit scores need to look like? So if you have these questions and more, all I ask you to do is do me a favor. Give us a call, 844-775-5626. Or if you're like, Dan, we're moving, I need your help. Well, all you need you to do is click the apply button now right over here. Within 24 hours, me or one of my mortgage advisors will be reaching out to you. They answer any and all the questions that you have to get yourself on the path to home ownership in 2023 and further. So thanks so much for watching, guys. God bless, and I hope to see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.